My name is Elizabeth Mills. I am a PhD researcher at the University of Dundee, and I am both a marine biologist and an engineer because I study all of the lovely creatures that you would usually find on your beaches rock pooling, but when they grow on all of the stuff that we as humans put into the sea. Yeah, I've always wanted to be a marine biologist. I have loved the sea and exploring the beaches and going fishing and rock pooling ever since I was a little kid. But the engineering part of my job, I never saw coming and was a complete surprise. But that just goes to show that in science, there is plenty of room for you to follow exactly what you love to do all the way through your career into different areas. I wish people knew about science, that it's not the stereotypical, you need to be the smartest person in the room, you need to be that genius, which we often see on television. Actually, in science, it's far more important to be curious and to have, that pinch of hard work. Because being a scientist is all about learning about what you like and learning about the topic area that you love, and then using your own brain and your own viewpoint to find an area of science that no one has found before. And there's quite a lot of areas in science that still need, new people to come in and to make new discoveries in that area. So actually, science is about asking the weird questions that pop into your brain. So the thing you need to focus on more is, make sure that every time you're doing something scientific, you can ask a load of questions. And that's really the basis of science, and far more important than needing to think that you need to score 100% in all of your tests, because people care far more about your curious mind than they ever will about your grades. My favourite thing about my job is that it's not in the same place all of the time. I get to go out and explore beaches. I get to travel and go meet new people and talk to them about their science and collaborate. I get to spend some time in labs doing scientific experiments with cool bits of equipment, and a fair amount of time sat on a computer. But that can be at home, or sometimes that can be in a coffee shop. It's a really flexible job, and it means that you can go around the world and do what you want as long as you fit that into your remit of whatever you want to do in science. So if you love lab work, you could spend most of your day in the lab, or if you love being outside, maybe that's what you spend more time doing. And it's great that you get to pick and choose between all of those different things in one job. My favourite subjects at school, I really liked biology and geography. I liked learning about the world that we're in, and I liked learning about the biology in it, which I think fits really well for a marine biologist. But one of my other favourite subjects that I can't not mention is art, and that is a really creative and often something you don't associate with sciences. But science is actually a really creative field. You have to come up with new ideas all the time, and having a balance between a really academic subjects and the art themselves worked really well for me. And it meant that I think I performed better in my academic subjects if I had a balance and got to spend some time using my creative brain as well. And the further I go through in science, the more I realize that that is really important. And I'm glad that when I was at school, I kind of had that grounding already, and it's something that I've carried on throughout my career. That is a really hard question because I love all rock pooling creatures, but I'm going to go with a nudibranch, which is a really fancy word for saying a sea slug. So unlike land slugs, sea slugs are incredible. They are often really brightly coloured. Right here in Scotland, I found bright white ones, bright purple ones, and bright yellow ones. And they have a really cool example of you are exactly what you eat. So they eat these things called hydroids, which again is another weird creature on the rocky shore that you can find. And if you imagine a plant that's like a flower plant, but where the flower is actually like a baby tiny jellyfish. Sounds really odd, right? But that is what this hydroid is. And because they're like baby jellyfish, they have stinging cells. And what these sea slugs do is they go and eat these hydroids, and they take the nutrients and all the yummy bits out of them, but they keep the stinging cells inside their body. So the reason they're also often brightly coloured is because they're actually poisonous to different things that want to eat it, and they will actually sting them, but they never make the cells themselves. They just steal them from the food they eat. So I really, really like finding them because they're really bizarre, really brightly coloured, and something not people know about. Yeah, unfortunately, climate change is real. It's the biggest threat to global biodiversity in the entire world. And it really is having an impact on marine creatures, mainly in three main ways. The first one is it's increasing the temperature of our oceans. Now, humans are really lucky. We get to travel all over the world. And if we get cold, we put a coat on. And if we get hot, we take our clothes off. And so we have the ability to adapt to different temperatures. But marine creatures don't. They're stuck where they are. And the problem is that when they're put in a temperature that they don't like, so they're getting warmer, they get really stressed. And that stress can actually lead to them dying. And that's a real problem. But we're also finding that if you're stressed and putting all of this energy in your body into surviving and keeping cool and not getting hot, it also leaves you susceptible to disease. So a lot of these species are getting killed off by diseases because they get really stressed with the temperatures that they're in. The other way that it's really affecting it is that the way that climate change is increasing rapidly is we put out greenhouse gases and emissions into the atmosphere. And one of those is carbon dioxide, which the sea likes to absorb. But by doing so, it changes the chemistry of the ocean and actually increases the acidity of it, which means that things like shellfish and things that need shells are finding it harder and harder to make those shells because the acidity of the ocean is actually dissolving them. The real problem is if it starts to affect these things called phytoplankton, and that's the basis of the food chain. And if they start to get affected and their shells start to deteriorate, it's like taking away grass and plants and that for us, it'll be really, really difficult for the rest of the ocean to be able to eat a lot of food. And another way that climate change is affecting biodiversity is it's increasing the amount of storms that we have. So no one likes it when your house gets battered by a storm, but imagine all the creatures that are out in the sea living through it. And the more storms that we have and the bigger the storms are, the more impact that's going to have on ecosystems. And they're going to really struggle to keep repairing in time before the next storm comes. So unfortunately, climate change is this big problem that we need to kind of start to try and fix now because it's already having such a horrible impact on our lovely sea creatures. There are lots of things that we can do as an individual to help protect our seas. We can take a lot of little small steps, things like reducing our carbon footprint, making sure we're turning lights off, not wasting electricity. If we can cut down the amount of flights that we take or using public transport more often, they're all things that can help. We can also reduce our single-use plastics, so things that you only use once, like using water bottles and then chucking them away. So using reusable water bottles, things like using reusable face masks instead of disposable face masks. But what is also really important is that at any age, your voice is really important. And if you're passionate about the oceans and you want to help protect it, then learning about our oceans is an absolutely fantastic way to help share with people. The more people that know about the problems in our ocean, the more people that know about the amazing creatures in our oceans, the more action we're going to want to take. And there are charities both in the UK and around Scotland that are really good at involving people at any age that you can get involved with. People like the Marine Conservation Society and Save Scottish Seas do great events that you can attend. You can do beach cleans and learn a load of information online. So don't underestimate the impact that your own voice can have, and just talking to your friends and family and anyone that you meet about saving our oceans is going to really, really help in keeping the momentum up that we can keep making action and keep trying to protect what we love so much.